Jonathan, he lives outside, he sleeps outside, and he has this established corner where he sits and he panhandles outside. But when we come over and we see him, we ask him if we can sit down with him, because it's a space that we want to reverence. Maybe to everyone else, it looks like he's just someone who's on a corner, but like that's essentially his living room.
People of Preston City, people everywhere around the world, this is David Christopher Pacheco.
Hi, my name is Kimmy.
My name is Arthur Ortiz. Been in Denver since 1973.
Okay, so let's just talk in circles for a little bit.
Just shoot the breeze a little bit.
Now they see beyond what I look like. They see what my actions are and say, hey, that is a good person.
A lot of people say home is where the heart is, but my heart's in many places. It's just I don't know where home is.
Welcome back to Homeless But Human. Here with you today is Blake.
And here with you today is Shayla.
And we have some missionaries with us from Philadelphia. Our Philadelphia crew, Sam and America. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Blake. It's good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
This is definitely like the all-American podcast naming crew. We have America McCoy.
Sam over there.
And Sam Smith. All right? Like, this is the all-American.
And Blake Bruliette.
No, that's a little French.
Hailing
but anyway,
from Nebraska.
We are so excited to have you guys on here. And you're both on Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah, we're on the Rittenhouse route in Philadelphia. So Chestnut Street, Walnut Street, and Rittenhouse Square.
Amazing. And both of you are first years, correct?
I'm a first year, but
You're a
America's,
second year
yeah,
as well.
second year.
My bad.
Okay, no worries.
But is this your second year on Rittenhouse?
Yeah, this is my second year on Rittenhouse.
Oh, great. Well, give us a lay of the land. Like, what is the Rittenhouse? Do you say Rittenhouse Square?
No, we just call our route Rittenhouse. We have Rittenhouse Square, which is kind of a unique feature of our route. None of the other street routes have the same. None of the other street routes have a park with greenery, or in such a residential neighborhood.
Okay.
I would say. Do you think that's right, Sam?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
So you guys have a little residential, a little park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we call our whole route the Ritty or Rittenhouse.
Because nicknames are essential for everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Sometimes I call it the Ritzy Ritty. Sam has never called it that. I just learned. Because our route is actually consists of a couple streets that have very nice clothing stores and makeup stores and things. And so it can be disorienting walking the streets in Rittenhouse area because there's these multi-million-dollar townhomes and apartments and super expensive food and clothing stores. And then there's the homeless that are out panhandling.
Yeah, just the dichotomy of a culture right there.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. How many people are on your team?
There's 5 of us. America and Chloe are our 2 second years. And then the first years are me, Dominic, and Emily.
Oh, nice.
I love it. Big team. But you guys have pretty big routes, so you got to cover a lot of... Yeah?
Yeah.
Somewhat?
We'll normally split into like a group of 2 and a group of 3. Our route kind of starts on Broad Street. It's like a pretty high traffic area in Philly, and there's one resource called Broad Street Love that they serve lunch most days, and they also have like clothing, like a clothing drive, and a lot of our friends also can get their mail there.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So we'll start kind of like close by there and walk up Broad Street, and then like America said, so there's 2 streets that we'll normally turn off of, Walnut Street and Chestnut Street, and usually walk like one group each, and both of those lead to Rittenhouse Square, which is kind of like the end of our route.
Gotcha. So for your route, the people that you're typically meeting on the route, because it is maybe a more wealthy area, do you find like people are coming there to like maybe ask for money or to panhandle, or is it like more of a transient sort of location for the homeless, or do you come across the same people?
I think that there's a mix. So there's a good deal of transient people that are there to panhandle, especially during lunch hours.
Mm-hmm.
there are also some homeless shelters that are walking distance from the shopping district, essentially. And so we do have a good amount of consistency. We have our homeless friends who sleep like on the alleyways or in the park at night. And so they are pretty consistently found on our street route.
So yeah, you kind of get the mix of both.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. As a second year, have you seen the route change at all? Maybe you guys are even walking in a different location now because, this is our third year in Philadelphia. Have you guys even changed up like where you're going to on the route? How has it changed within the last year?
I think that Rittenhouse has been pretty consistent.
Okay.
As to where we find people. We're kind of going through a transition right now where a lot of the homeless that I got to know last year are in housing or in shelters.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, which is very good. It's kind of interesting, though, with the bad weather. Less people are out panhandling. Yeah, so sometimes there aren't a lot of people to talk to. And sometimes it's bittersweet, too, the having less of an accessibility to our homeless friends. And I know it's something that's lonely for them, too, and not always something that we anticipate when our friends get housing.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell us more about some stories from this year, or who are some friends you guys have made on Rittenhouse Square?
Yeah. I'd say most of our most consistent friends we knew before this year. Jonathan is definitely the person that we see the most. He sits at 16th and Chestnut, I think.
Yeah, in
it's
front
right
of Liberty Place Mall.
Yeah, right outside the mall. He's there, pretty much every day. He doesn't have housing or anything, so he just sleeps like a little bit away from where he sits, and he doesn't really like to ask people for money. He normally most days he'll just sit and read, and he'll have like a Wawa cup or
it's
Dunkin' Donuts,
as is Philly,
just in front of him. But he, is just a really nice guy, and I remember being surprised at how welcoming he was to all of us new first years at the start of the year. Oh. 'Cause a lot of our friends, they obviously know, if they know us, they know the missionary model of not, we're not always going to be around forever. And some people can take that kind of in a less positive way of oh, I'm not going to get close to you. I'm not going to be happy to see you or anything like that. Just because you're going to leave. Yeah. While there is, a sadness there and knowing that we're not going to be around forever, I think he's been very open to just receive us and really extend his friendship.
Yeah. What's that like for you as a first year missionary, coming into a space where you're I'm wanting to meet people, I'm wanting to talk with people, and then you're received well by a friend that we've known for a while, and you're not received with hostility or maybe a wall up because you're not going to be here longer than a year or two, unless you stick around Philly. But what's that like for you to be received well?
It's great. I think just like our friends want to be received well and loved well by us. There's this reciprocal relationship where we also want to be received well and loved well by our friends. So it's just it's a very good feeling to be able to count on someone on our route that maybe we need an easier day or just oh, I haven't seen Jonathan in a while. I know he's gonna be happy to see us and want to talk and just share time together. I remember especially at the start of the year being very surprised by the first few times I was seeing Jonathan. It was with America or Chloe, and I was okay, you're friends with them, and I'm also here. But then on first year days where it's just Dominic, Emily, and I, or however we split up, it ends up just being like me in the first years, like still being received well, and like realizing that like, yes, Jonathan is like also like just as much friends with me as he is with like Chloe and America and like people that he's known more.
Yeah. America, what do you think about that? Like, because you obviously built a relationship with Jonathan over the last year. Like, what does that speak into about just the continuity of like friendship with Christ in the city as a whole, or like as an organization?
Yeah, I think that a friendship that is able to invite other people into it is a real friendship.
Yeah.
And so that's a real sign of health. And it reflects that he's been loved well by missionaries in the past. I actually got to know Jonathan during first year days when I was a first year last year. And I remember when I first got to know Jonathan, the first couple of times that we weren't walking with Alex and Angelina, the second years on my street team, my first year, Jonathan would be like, "Where's Alex?
Yeah.
Where is he?" But it was good, like, yeah, just being there and getting to know him better. And when you reach that moment of like, oh, like we really are friends independent of previous missionaries, it's a really beautiful place to be. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's a sign of growth in Jonathan, honestly. I think that the transition to welcoming in the first years this year went a lot smoother than it did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is that growth in friendship, right? Like, we talk about this all the time of like an isolated friendship that doesn't welcome another in you just said it so well. It's like, that's actually not a healthy one.
Right.
That's not.
It's attached. Yeah.
Yeah, it's attached, or it's that, and it's like, it's so healthy that our friends on the street, those we meet, I mean, the more they're friends with the community, the better their chances of taking that next step in their lives or going that next, and back to what you said, Sam, I think it's so interesting about like it's like, it's kind of nice to know there's one person on our route that's like actually going to talk. And it sounds so crazy, but it's like, yeah, it's like those little consolations we get to get through the desolations, like those little like good moments where it's like, oh gosh, it's been a really rough 5 conversations today. Like, let's go to Jonathan. And it's one where it's, it can sound, like maybe selfish or but it's like, well, he's loving it too. It's like, that's the cool thing is with a friend, you go to a friend in a time of rest, right? It's like, but also you push your friends, you challenge your friends. So it's this beautiful, like, intermix, sounds like, with Jonathan of like, yeah, hey, he's excited to see us. We're excited to see him. There are days he's tough and we'll pick him up. There are days we're having a tough time and he'll pick us up. And obviously, it's a very appropriate friendship. We're not, relying on him or asking more than he's able to do. But I really love that reminder of like, yeah, we go out and sometimes think we're supposed to be the hero when we go on mission or go serve the poor. And it's like, if we don't allow ourselves to be loved and appreciated back, it's like, that's not a relationship. So that's so amazing to see that go through. And then America seeing the different stages of the friendship between those that are continuity with the program.
Yeah. I used to think before coming to Christ in the city, because we refer to friends on the street as friends, the homeless, we refer to them as our friends. And from the outside looking in, and maybe some listeners have thought this too, how often we use that word might seem like phony, or might just seem like a nicety, but being here and getting to know Christ in the city, and also getting to know, the homeless, I've realized and come to even experience myself, and I'm sure you missionaries obviously have experienced this, of just an actual friendship with the people that we meet, that it's not, there's like no strings attached to it, that we go out and we're, you're meeting people, but you actually are becoming friends with them. And it's beyond just a mere service to the person. It becomes like a love and a friendship, and which is like a whole new layer to and what missionary work is, and that's what makes us different than someone like a social worker or someone it's because we are based in friendship. So I just think it's really cool that you have consistent friends.
America, any stories or friends from the street?
Well, I was thinking about Jonathan's birthday last year. And
birthdays, always birthdays.
Yeah.
The best.
So fun. And I think at that time I was reflecting about how we use the term friends, and how like that isn't something trite, and it's really sad when people perceive it as such, because like I've spent hours with this person, and we've shared real laughs and real tears and real joy. And so Jonathan's a big reader. He loves to read. He's like always reading. Honestly, it's a way that he copes, but it's also just something that he really enjoys. And so for his birthday, he also loves kava. So we went to, and I love kava too. So actually, I'm pretty sure we've had like at least 5 conversations about kava and Mediterranean food and how fun it is to go there. Yeah, but we went to Cabo with the Summer of Service missionaries, and then we surprised him with going to Barnes & Noble afterwards.
Aww.
And it was really special to walk into Barnes & Noble with Jonathan and to go to the mystery and thrillers section.
That's his favorite?
It's his favorite, yeah. He loves mystery and thrillers, especially James Patterson. Yeah. It was. I've learned a lot about that genre from him, honestly.
Oh, yeah. If
Yeah.
you're not into it, I mean, I'm not. It's like there's so much to learn, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And so it was just like such a delight to hear him out loud talk about the different books that he was picking up and looking at. And yeah, he lost the book after a couple weeks. It had rained, and he'd already read it like 5 times, so it wasn't the worst loss. Mm-hmm. But he still had the birthday card that we made him, that we designed like a James Patterson cover.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's
so
so
that was
fun.
really touching. Like he lost the book, but he kept the birthday card.
Like that was more important to him to keep safe.
Yeah. It was all tucked safe in the depths of his backpack.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's just something about like the personalized birthday card. You know, it's like it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes thought.
it does.
Yeah.
It's like those are those like intimate things, you know? It's like, oh, hey, we knew it was your birthday and we just didn't, you know, write happy birthday and sign it. It's like, no, we made a fun card. We used our creativity, you know.
We printed off photos of you
Yeah,
and cut them
totally.
out and and drew around the
That's
card.
that's a regular around here.
Lots of cutouts. It's great.
I love that. So you guys accompany people after they get into housing. Sounds like you've had a few people on your route. I would love to hear from both of you maybe some of the joys and, as weird as it's going to sound, like the struggles or sorrows with housing and like why you're still accompanying your friends. I mean, it's going to come naturally by just sharing the joys and the sorrows, but tell us a little bit about watching them through that journey or being there with them for that.
Yeah. Jonathan, he lives outside. He sleeps outside. And he has this established corner where he sits and he panhandles outside. But when we come over and we see him, we ask him if we can sit down with him, because it's a space that we want to reverence. Maybe to everyone else, it looks like he's just someone who's on a corner, but like that's essentially his living room. Like that's really his living room and where he can, and like it really is his space, and he's like fought to protect that. And it's uncomfortable when other people are panhandling where he normally panhandles. So it's special to receive his hospitality. And I can see that like with Lori too. Like she would welcome us to sit with her on the streets, on the corner. And I think that the way that we spend our time with her, going from sitting on maybe cardboard on some grates and like a gravel walkway, it's not actually that different from when we're sitting on couches in her apartment. Like either way, we're looking her in the eye and we're wanting to know like who she really is, and spending time resting and digesting, per se.
Very real.
Yeah, like it's, yeah.
But that just shows your like missionary heart and vision toward our friends on the street. Is it wouldn't matter where you were sitting.
Yeah.
You know?
Or that you know, this spirit of poverty isn't limited to a location.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, as you said, it's like that you're we are not like where we are. You know, there's like that identity piece of like, yeah, Lori on the street corner is at her core being absolutely no different than Lori with a house. It's like, yes, there's different circumstances, there's different realities in her life, you know, but it's like at the same time, it's like same Lori, you know, but very different circumstances.
Same fashionista.
Yeah,
oh, is
yeah,
she?
right.
Oh, she is. She really is.
But yeah, and it's like that reality too of like that spirit of poverty, like it's not gone either. You know, it's not gone once you get into a house. It's not that our problems, it actually speaks so beautifully to like material needs can't meet the depths of our hearts as well. Right? If they did, it's like, why would you guys go to her apartment?
Yeah.
You know, it sounds crazy, but it's like, no, friendship is deeper than that. You know, it's like people need friends. People need relationships regardless of state of life, including Lori. Sam, how about you? How's it been accompanying people from the streets into housing or seeing that?
Yeah. My mind actually also went to Lori. So, yeah, when I first came in August, the previous missionaries obviously had known Lori, but I had never met her before. And when we met her, she was on the streets. She and her dog, Ashoka, they just like had a lot of stuff, and it was like very hard for Lori to get around 'cause she had to deal with like taking care of Ashoka, and she's a pit bull, so she was also a puppy, so she was
Rowdy.
super rowdy,
Very
super
rowdy.
hie energy.
She's a diva.
Yeah.
The dog?
The dog. Yeah, the
Or
dog.
fashionista Lori.
Fashionista Lori, of course, has a diva dog, Ashoka. Ashoka's a puppy of Honey. I think that, I don't know if that was bridged earlier.
wild.
Yeah, there's a long story with that.
Anyway.
But anyway, Sam.
Yeah, and just like seeing her have to deal with like the hardships of being on the streets, not only like on her own, but also having to like take care of this dog that's like a puppy, very like high maintenance, very like you need to keep an eye on her at all times, and she's not going to be able to get into certain places because she has a dog, and all these different things that just like made life even harder for her. Seeing her get into housing with her boyfriend Mark, kind of crazy how quick of a turnaround it was. He, like a mutual friend, had told them about this group that like works with veterans to get them housing. And so like pretty quickly after they heard about it, they were able to get an apartment. And yeah, I remember like we were just super excited for them to hear that they got into housing. And we were the second people, like our street team were the second people to get to visit them in their new apartment.
Oh, cool.
Their first visitor was our other friend, Mandy, who's also she's on the streets. And
Wow.
I think it says a lot about Mark and Lori's hearts, is like they're very loving people, and they're always ready to give from their own poverty, even to like welcome a woman who's sleeping outside on the streets into their new home.
And yeah, just like, their hospitality really was just so amazing. Like even before she was in housing, we would say, "Hey, Lori, we want to have a little picnic with you," and she'd be like, "Okay, let me at least bring the drinks."
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Such a woman's heart, such a feminine heart. Yeah.
the first time we visited, they had just gotten into their apartment like a few days before. So they didn't have any furniture, but they had like a bunch of egg crates and
Their
cardboard, yoga
Their
mats.
street furniture is what
Yeah.
they call it jokingly. If they find it on the street, it's called street furniture.
Wow.
They're street mugs.
So we just, like sat around in their empty living room and just chatted and had a good time. And then somewhat recently got to, I guess, was it before Christmas?
I think it was before. Yeah, it was before Christmas.
Yeah, we got to visit again, and they had found a lot of furniture and things.
Oh, cool.
So they'd really like spruced up the house, and we got to have a little Christmas gift exchange with
Aw.
them, which was awesome. And she made us soup. Again, just
So sweet.
so hospitable, so sweet. And recently we actually, so Lori's not on the lease. Yeah, due to like a complicated situation, basically, like the people in charge of the housing got notified that she was living with Mark, even though she's not on the lease. And so for the past week or so,
Yeah, the past week.
she's had to go back out on the streets.
Oh.
Which was just like, hard to hear. And we obviously like want the best for Lori, and
For sure.
just like there's a lot of sorrow in that, and especially now that it's gotten a lot colder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But still, she is like such a trooper, has such like a strong spirit. Even in the extra stress of like all this, she still comes to lunch from the park. She
Wow.
gave us a call to just like let us know what was going on, and still loves us, and still like wants that relationship, which I think is just, so good.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that she was in housing and isn't currently. That's hard to hear in a reality of what it can be like for her friends on the street.
One thing that Lori and this really just strikes me is our friends on the street. And I mean, how much when we make not that she made a mistake, but when we get like kicked out of housing, well, that's not happened to us here, but like when something bad happens or we do something bad, how just we hide. So shame-filled and hiding. And it's like those who have lived on the streets have not had the luxury of hiding. But I say luxury, but it's kind of like a mask of hiding.
Sure.
Right? Like as you say that, I'm like, I am so glad. My first thought hearing you say that same was like, I am so grateful she reached out and has kept you guys in the loop.
Yeah, totally.
It's so easy when things go wrong for us to be like, I don't want to tell my friend, I don't want to burden them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to put this weight on them, or I'm embarrassed. And I'm sure she is maybe a little bit, right? But she knows you care.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like getting over our own, I don't know what word, our own shame, or, and like letting others suffer with is compassion. So I'm like honestly overjoyed that Lori reached out and has let you into this with her. Because, man, going through that alone, even with just Mark, those things are brutal, and it's like, but knowing there's people with you, and she can even call and be like, hey, these people care about me. They want to know about me. Like that, just like that takes out the shame.
Yeah,
It's like
totally
gone.
I want to pivot a little bit for one. Well, maybe have a little bit more time. I want to pivot a little bit for another conversation topic, which is, you mentioned this at the beginning, that Rittenhouse, you're in a more like wealthy district. I'm wondering how you've seen that dichotomy play out. Have you come across people on the streets that are maybe they're shopping, or the store owners, or people that are in that area for those reasons, which is different for our friends on the street who are there maybe asking for money. Like, have you seen that play out, and what has that been like?
Yeah.
Or if you have any reflections on like the rich and the poor, and like what is that? Yeah, even in your own prayer, what has that been like?
There was one time, I wasn't out this day, but there was one time where missionaries were in Rittenhouse Square, and a man who was housed, who was just there for the farmer's market, came up to them and asked them what they were doing, and they explained our mission, and he gave them a loaf of fresh bread, and he said, "That's awesome, keep it up."
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And there have been times where I mistook someone who was housed as being homeless, and they're really sweet about it, and we're like, actually, like I just would love to talk too.
Wow.
And I think that's beautiful. Occasionally people will give us some really gnarly side eye, but
Sure.
but I think that's less to do with their wealth and more about other factors that affect the disposition of their hearts.
A little long-winded. You guys, this has been great.
This is great.
We didn't mention at the beginning where you're from. Can we ask?
Yeah.
Aren't you both from Texas?
We are. I'm
Yeah.
from College Station, Texas,
Oh,
home of Texas A&M.
You're actually
Gig 'em
from there, though?
Aggies.
Born and raised.
And you are...
I'm from Belton, Texas, but I also went to Texas A&M.
oh, we
I
got
heard
two Aggies in the
America
house.
is the most proud Aggie who's ever graduated.
Wow, that's a big claim.
No, she's not at all.
I'm a little bit of a 2%er.
Yes.
What does that
Sorry
mean?
to our Aggie listeners. It means that you're someone who would like leave early from the football games, and I do subscribe to the Aggie spirit. I think I'm really grateful to A&M for the Catholic formation that it afforded me
totally.
at St. Mary's Catholic Center.
I love it.
I'm not seeing any Aggie rings around here.
I have. Mine is in Philly.
Okay. I have to keep it safe.
He didn't
I
wanna
pawned mine to do Yas. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But that sounds amazing.
gotten used to not wearing it because I don't know if wearing a huge gold ring on the streets would
You know,
be low profile.
That's called intelligence. Well done.
Or it could be a conversation starter. Just
Or-
saying.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
What are you
But
putting?
what
What are you
others-
putting on?
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much, Sam, America. Truly, thank you for sharing your vulnerability, and for all those listening. Like, I love what Shayla said. Like, what dispositions are we putting on? And let's open ourselves up to conversations, and like Lori, just bringing people into our suffering. So, thank you all, and we can't wait to have you listen again.
God bless. We'll see you guys next time.
God bless. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on Homeless But Human today. In order to keep producing this content for you all, we invite you to consider joining our known and loved monthly giving community. This is one of the most impactful ways that you can join us on mission. Your monthly gift sends missionaries out to the streets day after day and helps us to continue recording and sharing our podcast. It's our vision that every city not only has soup kitchens and shelters, but communities who are committed to helping the homeless know that they have a home in us. And what is home but a small taste of Christ's infinite love? Visit christinthecity.org and make a monthly gift today to join our known and loved community. And if you enjoyed today's episode, do us a favor and go hit subscribe and leave a review. To get more involved with the mission, visit christinthecity.org.